What up, y'all, and welcome to this live stream where I'm going to teach you 3 quick fixes to help you improve your tone instantly. And if you're new, my name is Aaron, and on this channel, I hope you practice. It's been a long day, folks. Had a long day today, but on this channel, I hope you learn, practice, and grow with my trumpet tutorials, practice tips, and play along exercises. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on awesome live streams just like this and videos. What's up, Desert? What's happening? There's 9 folks in here. Don't forget to say what's up if you're in here and tell me where you're from. Unknown from Peru, what's happening? So I'm gonna say hi to a few folks here before we get started. There's 10 folks in here. Come on, talk to me. I know you guys are here. Let me know where you're from and how your day is going so far. Travis, what up from Texas? Daniel from the GA. Q from Virginia. What's happening? Vander is cool. Hello, what's up? Bigger, Justin from Florida. What's happening? Thanks for joining, guys. So let's get started. There's 13 folks. I do not want to waste your time. I'll say hi to a few more folks and we're going to get started with the 3 quick fixes. All right. All right. So we got Tyrese. What's happening? Dylan, what's up from California? And yeah, so let's get started, folks. All right. So the first thing, there's 3 things. First thing I noticed in really beginners and inexperienced players is that their oral cavity is really closed. So in order for us to get a better sound, just open it up. So our oral cavity is just anything inside the mouth in here. So what I want you to do is say aw, as in like awesome, like aw, and then close your mouth. So say aw, close your lips. That opens up tons of space in the mouth. And Travis with the 99-cent super chat. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. All right, so you want to say aw as in awesome. So AW. That's actually my initials, AW, Aaron Washington. So just think that. And also, you want to open up the teeth. Because if we close the teeth, we're going to get a certain sound that you might be familiar with. So I'm gonna demonstrate 2 things. I'm gonna demonstrate an oral cavity that's closed and the teeth are closed, and a sound that represents an open oral cavity and open teeth. All right. But just let me know in the chat with the 1 if you can hear me really nice and well. If it's 0, if you can't hear me at all. So put a number 1 in the chat if you can hear me really clearly. Cool. Thanks, Adam. You said I sound perfect. Awesome. So I'm going to demonstrate 2 things. And I'm going to get to all these, I'm going to get to your questions as soon as possible. So after I give you these 3 tips, I'm going to then answer all of your questions, okay? All right, so here's a demonstration with a closed oral cavity with a closed teeth. And you might have heard this before. Have you guys heard that before, that type of sound? Right, so that's closed oral cavity and your teeth are closed. Now what I want you to do is open up the teeth. Just open them up real nice and easy and say aw, close your mouth, Pretend you have a golf ball or a tennis ball in your mouth and you're trying to hold it in your mouth so you don't swallow it, right? So say aw, open oral cavity. Open that oral cavity, open teeth. Now I'm going to demonstrate closed teeth, closed oral cavity. Right. So do you guys hear the difference? Yes or no? Type in the chat if you hear the difference between a closed oral cavity, closed teeth versus open oral cavity, open teeth. Yes or no? Do you hear the difference? You guys? Yes. Adam says very obvious difference. Yes. Vander says a whole lot of difference. Definitely a large difference. So if you have your horn, and I recommend this, if you have your horn next to you, pop that thing out, get that horn out, and try it yourself. All right. Now, I'm gonna give you a bonus tip on that one. To find your sweet spot, you know, to get a nice, brilliant sound, right? A brilliant chord to the sound. There's a way that you can do that with mutes. You can find the center of the pitch and get that brilliance of sound using your mutes that you already have. So I recommend using a harmony mute, or you can use a straight mute. And the reason why I say these two mutes is because it's very obvious if you're playing in the center or if you're playing with a nice brilliant sound, because this mute will start to shimmer, right? And it won't, but if you're not playing in the center of the pitch, it's going to sound really dull and it's not going to have that shimmer anymore. So let me demonstrate that real quick. So it's and the reason why I recommend doing it with a harmony mute rather than a straight mute, because it's easier to find that, that spot, that sweet spot in your tone by using the harmony mute. It's a little bit harder to find it on a straight mute. So I'm going to demonstrate this with the harmony mute. A closed oral cavity, closed teeth, and then I'm going to open up the sound with the open oral cavity, open teeth. All right. There's 20 folks in here. That's awesome, man. Thank you all for watching. And at the end of this, I'm going to answer all of your questions that you have. And so if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you can't stay the entire time, go ahead and put them in the chat and I'll scroll through. And then you can just, on the replay, you can watch this and see if I answer your question. All right. So I'm going to use a harmony mute. All right. So I'm going to first demonstrate. What's up, Tyler? I'm going to first demonstrate closed oral cavity, closed teeth, and then open up the sound with the open oral cavity, open teeth with the harmony mute. And tell me if you hear the difference. Right? If you hear the difference, let me know. There's a huge difference, I think. And so what you want to do besides that, if you find that sweet spot in your harmony mute, you want to replicate that feeling, that feeling, that blow, that openness, and replicate it on your trumpet. So take the horn out, take the harmony mute out, and then play that same way that you just did. And you get a nice full trumpet, actual characteristic sound of the trumpet, right? So I recommend you experiment with the harmony mute. That's a bonus tip that I think everyone should know and try out. All right, so that's quick fix number one. All right, so that's number one. Open up the oral cavity. Use some mutes to help you find that that center. Find the sweet spot in your sound. Okay. Quick fix number two is to eliminate all types of unnecessary tension in your playing, in your body. So there's four types of places where you do not want tension at all. If you have tension in these places, it's a total trumpet killer, right? So the first one is a big one. It's a big tension spot. And that's in the middle of your chops, the middle of your lips, right? I've been getting a lot of comments on like my lip buzzing tutorial saying that they can't buzz and stuff like that. What I've noticed in a lot of beginners is that with their lip buzz, it sounds like this. Right? So what's happening is you're tightening up the middle of your lips and you're tightening up the corner of the lips. You're tightening up both the corners and the middle of your lips. Adam, man, thank you for the super chat. Man, y'all are awesome, man. Thank you, Adam. He says, thanks for this tip. No problem. I got 2 more for you, but I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. All right, so what you want to do is eliminate the tension in the middle of your embouchure. So in order to do that, to check, a quick way to check that is to just firm up the corners of your lips and just say your name. So I'm still able to talk to you normally, even though it looks weird, but my corners are firm, but the middle of my lips are loose. But if my lips are totally firm across the board, you can't understand what I'm saying, right? So that's a quick way to find out if you're really tense in the middle, right? Now, see that you're only firm in the corner of your lips and not in the middle. Here's a trumpet sound that you might be familiar with, you might have heard before if you're really tense in the middle. So let me demonstrate that. So this is what I'm gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna demonstrate my lips in the center being really tight. Right? Have you guys heard that sound before? I know I have plenty of times, even with my own playing. But here's an example of me loosening up the middle of my lips, only firm corners. You guys hear the difference? Yes or no in the chat if you guys hear a difference. Now, you per se might not get that same tone, right? But that's just going to take time. That's going to take work. But it's a huge difference if you just loosen up the middle of your chops and only focus on firm corners in your embouchure. Bigger says huge. Walt says yes. Adam says huge. Yes. You can hear the difference. See, so, and that's just at an instant. If you change that, your sound will definitely improve instantly. These are no BS tips right here. Like, this is actual stuff that you can do right now. All right. You want to eliminate unnecessary tension. So that's the first spot, right? You want to eliminate tension in the middle of your embouchure. The second spot is your shoulders. You don't want any tension in your shoulders. The third spot is in your neck. The fourth spot is in the chest. So you want to be I can't talk. You want to be really relaxed in your neck, shoulders, and chest. Because if my shoulders are extra high like this, you can actually hear the change in my voice. If my shoulders are really up and all the way up to my ears, right? You can hear the change in my voice. It changes the sound. Now, relax them as much as possible. Put them down, relax. Another spot in the neck. Now, you don't want to be really tight in the neck because if you are, you're gonna sound like you've been smoking 50 packs of cigarettes for like 30 years. So you wanna be really nice and relaxed in the throat so you don't sound like this. And if you sound like this, your trumpet sound is gonna sound like that, right? So let me demonstrate that. So I'm gonna be very tight in the neck. I'm gonna be very tight in the neck while I play this long tone. can't even play because my neck is so closed off. So you want to have an open neck, relaxed neck. Right? I raise my shoulders and you can actually hear the difference in my tone if you raise the shoulders. So you want to eliminate unnecessary tension in these 4 places: the middle of your chops, your shoulders, your neck, and your chest. You want to be really relaxed here, right? So that's quick fix number 2. Excuse me. There's 19 folks in here. If I can get 10 people to like this video, I'll be really happy. So please help me out. It helps the video get this video out to more eyeballs so they can learn just like you are right now. So if I can get 10 likes on the video right now, I'll be extremely happy. So thank you so much for watching, all 20 of you, and also you guys that are watching this on the replay. Thank you so much. Before I get to the last tip, I want to answer some questions that you guys have. I'll wait for that last tip, and I'll answer any of your guys' questions. So let me go through here and see if there's any questions in the chat so far. And if I miss your question, please don't be upset at me. These comments fly by so quick. All right, so let's see. I got a comment here by Unknown. It says, I will never forget the improvisation video. That video helped me get to a place in a big band in my country. Thank you. Hey, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much because it's not just me. It's the work that you put in. I can put out all the videos to help you all do as much as you can, but if you guys don't practice or implement those things, the videos mean nothing. So it's really kudos to you and doing your due diligence and practicing and doing the work. So awesome job, man. All right. From Bigger, any tips for playing with an underbite? My teacher in high school, my private teacher, he had I think an underbite. Like his bottom teeth were above his top teeth. My tip for that is to if your teeth, this is your bottom teeth. I know it's just like one tooth, but if your teeth are above your top teeth, see if you can open them up and try to align them. So I have an overbite. All right, see that? My top teeth go over my bottom teeth. So a good way to kind of fix that is to try to align your top teeth with your bottom teeth. So like this. You might have to do something with your jaw in order to make that happen. All right? So if you're like this, try to see if you can straighten out your teeth like that. Okay? Good question, though. Adam, do you have an opinion on the Warburton Pete device? Hey, I do have that. I had it. I actually can't find, I think it's in my trumpet case, but I had it since high school. So I graduated high school 2000. So I've had it for a few years. I actually do like it, but use it in moderation though. And it does not replace practice, but it does really strengthen the corners and strengthen all these muscles around here, around your lips. So I do recommend it, but do it in moderation. Couple seconds maybe, maybe, I don't know, maybe like a minute. Yeah, it definitely helped me, you know. I used to do it before I went to bed. Like I'll just have it in, like watch a YouTube video or something, and just have it in there and just like hold it up at the end, and so not at the disc part, but at the other end, and try to see if I can hold it together. Kind of like the pencil exercise, but it's a lot heavier. So you'll feel that burn in here in the corner. So I do recommend it, but do it in moderation, but also put in the work and practice. All right, let me take 2 more questions and I'll go on to the third tip, all right? Walt says, any tips for finger speed? Oh, I have a few tips about finger speed. It has to do with technique. So I have a student right now, he's in 8th grade, and he loves to play the trumpet like this, right? He loves to play the trumpet like this. I know it's fun and it looks cool, but what I recommend is that you take the pads of your fingers, and put them on the pearls. So a quick tip, pads on pearls, right? And also try not to do this motion. So have your fingers really close to your valves, so it's not as much energy you're wasting when you're doing this, when you're coming all the way up here. Yes, pads on pearls. Also, what you want to make sure is that you press down the valves really nice and mechanically and strong. You hear that? You hear the rhythm to that? You don't want to do this. And I notice a lot of trumpet players like to do this on very slow tunes, very like lyrical pieces. They like to actually play your valves in a lyrical motion. No. You still have to be mechanical, even when you're playing lyrically. So press down these valves nice and hard, but not too hard where it interrupts your embouchure. Okay, so those are my tips on that. Good question. One more, and then I'll get to the last quick fix. Let's see. Ryan K, I just got braces. Any tips for getting my range, endurance, and tone quality back? Please answer it. Please answer it would mean so much. Ryan, man, unfortunately, I've never had braces. I've never had braces, but I can probably guess that it's pretty hard to play trumpet if you have braces, and it probably hurts, right? So what I recommend is that and I had an injury. I had an injury when I was in college, and it was very hard for me to play the trumpet because every time I picked up the horn, it hurt. It hurt me to play. So at one point, I had to really dial back on bringing the horn to my face. So I had to be really careful on how much tension I'm bringing back on my face. So what I recommend is that first, I think there's some things that you can get over your braces to help you with that. I'm not really sure, but I think that's a thing, right? If you've had braces, put in your tips, because I've never had braces. But what I recommend is that you play the trumpet and almost have like bring the trumpet really softly to your face where it's barely touching, and you just want to focus on your air. You want to focus on your air and how to maximize that, maximize your air rather than using the bring back motion to help you play, right? So, but that's my only tip for that, because I've never had braces playing the trumpet. So if any of you have ever had braces, you're going through it right now, go ahead and help, I think, Ryan out, right? Yeah, Ryan. Go ahead and help Ryan out with some tips that you all know and can give him, because that's actually not my expertise. And I'm sorry about that, Ryan, okay? All right, so let's get to, there's 23 folks in here. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, so the last tip is to sit up, not to sit up, but to sit and or stand in tune. Sit or stand in tune. You're asking me and you're scratching your head. You're like, Aaron, what does that mean? What does that mean to sit or stand in tune? How do you sit and stand in tune? Well, our body has a skeleton, right? So you want to make sure that your body is balanced. So you don't want to stand or sit up really straight, like really straight. And you don't want to slouch, because that also changes your sound. You can even hear it in my voice. When I slouch, you can hear it in my voice. So what I mean by standing or sitting in tune is just find a balanced position, a balanced posture, and just allow your body to rest with your skeleton. So even your head, try to find the optimum space where your head just rests naturally. And then play. Because I want you to do something. If you have your trumpet next to you, I want you to tell me how sitting up straight affects your tone, intonation wise. So if you stand or sit up really straight, how might that affect your intonation? Would it make it sharper or would it make it flat? Standing up really nice and straight, sitting up really nice and straight. If you slouch, just like chilling, right? You slouching and you play the trumpet. Tell me, how would that affect your intonation? Would it make it sharp? Would it make it flat? But I want you to tell me. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I want you to figure it out yourself and discover it. Discover how your posture affects your tone. Okay? But I can tell you that if you sit up too straight, it's going to affect it negatively. If you slouch, it's going to affect your tone negatively. So find that balanced position when you're sitting and when you're standing and play. But do both. So do three things. Experiment with standing up or sitting up really straight. Experiment sitting or standing really slouching. And then find that comfortable spot where you're balanced and you feel the weight just floating down to your toes, right? Okay. Alex says, yeah, it doesn't sound rough when sitting up straight. All right, so to recap, if you're just joining me, there's 25 folks in here. The first tip was an open oral cavity. Open oral cavity, so say aw. Pretend like you have a tennis ball in your mouth and you're trying not to swallow it, right? Aw. And second tip was to eliminate any tension that you have. So the four places you do not want tension is in your neck, in your shoulders, in your chest, and most importantly, in the middle of your chops, in the middle of your embouchure. So you just want to be firm in the corners and not firm in the middle. It's real bipolar. Just be very firm here, loosey-goosey in loosey-goosey in the middle. All right? And then lastly, you need to sit/stand in tune. Because if you've ever seen a picture of your spine, our spines are curved. It's not completely straight. It's not completely straight. So a book I actually recommend that you guys check out, and it's going to do wonders for your sound if you do what's prescribed in this book. And I'm not sponsoring this book or anything, but it's a great book. that you should check out. It's called The Breathing Book. The Breathing Book. Check this book out, and your sound will definitely change. Do what's in this book, and what I love about this book is that he talks about the anatomy of our bodies and how it affects our trumpet playing. So how the position of our head, how our lungs work, and all of that stuff, how our diaphragm works for our trumpet playing, how our lungs work. He goes into depth, and it's really not that thick of a book, but it has tons and tons of information that is just gold, right? So I recommend you get this book, The Breathing Book, okay? So check this book out and do all those quick fixes. Check your trumpet playing with these quick fixes as much as possible. And that's it, y'all. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna answer some more questions before I get out of here. And yeah, I really appreciate you all hanging out with me today. 22 folks in here. It's like a classroom. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. Any questions? Let's see. Bear24 says, braces make it very hard to play, but the best thing you can do is to practice and never give up. If you like playing the trumpet, please don't quit just because of some temporary obstacle. Bear24, that is amazing advice. Amazing. That is very true. Keep at it, man. Sing Vortex says, give it a more clear sound and more air. Yep. Teresa says, do you know every note on trumpet? I do. And a way to know every note on the trumpet is to play chromatic scales and do multiple octaves. Okay? That's pretty much every note. Sam, what's up? Alex says, how can you keep playing longer without taking a breath? Now, there's a few ways, or two ways I know. One I cannot do. But the first thing is like learn how to circular breathe, which I do not know how to do. There's tons of videos on YouTube. You can go check that out. The second one is really take a deeper breath. Take a deeper breath on O. And really fill up your lungs. Even though people say fill up from bottom to top, that's really not how the lungs work. How you breathe in, the air is dispersed evenly throughout the lungs. But I mean, it's a good imagery to think that your lungs fill up from bottom to top, but that's not really how it works. So when you breathe in, just expand, right? Just expand where your lungs are. And also, yeah, get this book and it tells you where to breathe and how to breathe. So, I mean, it's called The Breathing Book. So yeah, take a deeper breath, but on O, not on E. Don't have a closed oral cavity when you breathe in. Don't slurp in that air. I need you to have an open oral cavity and breathe on O. So when you play. PJ, I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name, but you said I'm awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Sing Vortex says, tips on playing in the higher register. A couple tips, and I have a video on this. It's a pretty good video. It's called Playing Higher Notes for Beginners. Right. So, first tip is use the tongue to help you play up in the upper register. So you use different tongue arches. Right? There's different like not modes, but different positions. I like to think of the higher register as E. And so what that does is it helps speed up that air when you say E as in like pizza. E, it brings that tongue up and it helps the air just flow faster. So say E, neutral position would be like ah, and to play lower notes would be like ooh or aw. So there, I like to think of three positions: ah as a neutral position, E for the higher notes, and ooh or aw for the lower notes. So those are just some quick things to help you with that higher register. But yeah, so to help you without firming up. Yeah, so use your tongue to help you out. Dak Attack says, how can I hit high notes easier like the upper parts of the F scale I have a hard time hitting? I recommend that you practice the chromatic scale because the space in between each note is only a half step, so it's a lot easier to play that scale. And so do exercises like this. And there's some exercises in the Arbin's book that will help you out. So, but practice the chromatic scale to help you maneuver up to that note that you're trying to play. So you're gonna do it on every. So you're gonna do it on every note. So you're gonna start on C, and play it up the octave. Play it to the octave above. Then C sharp. Then D. Then E flat, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. Right? But I want you to focus on speeding up the air in increments as you go up the scale. The chromatic scale will help you play that F major scale when you do that exercise. But take a look at the Arbin's book and take a look at the chromatic section in that book. P. Jai says, hey, I love your name. Thank you. Maddie, what's happening? Can you talk some on advanced syllables for jazz like do, va, and how you enjoy using them? That's a good question. Jazz articulation. There's a few, there are some jazz syllables that you should definitely start using for different types of sounds. And it kind of goes in like a continuum. So from shortest to longest, right? So here are some jazz, I guess, syllables, articulation. Dit, D-I-T. That's like a really short staccato. Dit, say dit. So that's short. Dot. Dot is a little bit D-O-T. Dot, or dot. That's a little bit longer of an articulation. So dit, then dot, and then da, D-A-H-T, da, and that's, you can use that on like legato tongue, tenuto, and then the last one is dot with a T at the end, dot. And that's mostly like marcato. If you see the house top, you want to use that dot, and that's D-A-H-T, D-A-H-T, dot. So there's dit, the really shortest one possible, dot, which is longer, da, and then dot. So D-A-H-T. So that's from shortest to longest articulation. Do tons of listening, and a good exercise for you to do is to maybe take a lick, either a lick in your big band music or a lick from a solo, and try to figure out what type of articulation they're doing. actually take big band music because that will actually help you out more, right? Um, take a look at some big band music and try to see which articulation syllable are they using. Are they using dit, dot, da, or dot, right? So hopefully that helps, Maddie. Let me know if that helps you. All right. Alex says, you think you could start doing tutorials on songs? I've been really thinking about it lately. What kind of songs would you guys like me to do tutorials on? Like popular songs, hip hop songs. Like, what would you actually like to learn? Alex says, any. Just something. Give me something, Aaron. I need something. I need it, Aaron. Just give me a song. All right, man. Pedro says, beautiful job. Thank you. Dak Attack says, okay, I will do that. Thank you very much. Also, do you know of anything that would help my valves from sticking? I put valve oil on it and everything, but they still stick. One thing is maybe take it to the shop. You might need to take it to the shop so they can clean it or figure out what's going on. Maybe clean your trumpet, clean the valves with some soap and water to get any like old valve oil and stuff on them. Also, maybe clean out the cap. Clean out the caps. I'm not going to show you mine because it's probably dirty. I need to clean my horn again. But clean out the caps. Clean out your valve block. But yeah, maybe clean your horn. Take it to the shop. But yeah. The trumpet may be old, maybe. Or you might not be pressing the valves correctly. And that how you press down the valve could contribute to your stickiness. Some people, when they press down the valve, they press it down at an angle. So like they press it down like at an angle like this. Besides just like up and down. Does that make sense? Scott Cummings says, hey, Aaron, first live chat I've got on to. Scott from Australia. Hey, Scott, if you're still on here, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you all. All 21 of you all. Thank you for joining me and spending your time with me. You could be doing anything else, but you're here with me, hanging out. That is awesome. Daniel says, Daniel Harmon. Nice. He says, what's your advice on practicing with mutes? Practice with them. If you have a tune that has mutes, don't wait till the gig. Don't wait till the concert to practice with the mute. Practice with the mute at home so you get a chance, a feel of how it feels and how it sounds. Also, remember to adjust your tuning slide when you're putting in your mutes. So you might have to pull out a little bit, you might have to push in a little bit, but you have to make that adjustment because you're putting something exterior into your horn. So that affects the intonation. Let's see if I can find any more questions maybe from the beginning. So I know Alex was asking if I can do more, not more, but actually do some song tutorials. Put down in the chat, or if you're watching this on the replay, put your song request in the comment section or in the chat, and I'll take a look at it. What would you actually like me to teach you song-wise on this channel? Hey Aaron, this is from Sing Vortex. Hey Aaron, I'm the person that needed help playing those scales. I've improved on my tone, but I'm still working on my range a little bit. We're all working on it. We're all working on it. Just keep, the only way to work on your range is to do it on a consistent basis. And I recommend, if you are going to practice your range, do it at the beginning of your routine, and not at the end. Because if you do it at the end and you're tired and your lips are fatigued, you're going to develop a lot of bad habits. So it's just going to compound. You're going to build your range on bad habits. And so that's not good. So practice or either do that or always practice on a fresh embouchure. So make sure that you rest as much as you need to. So every time you pick up the horn, you feel like it's fresh. It's never like tired or fatigued, right? But be consistent, rest as much as you can, and be consistent again. Do it every single day if you can. Always practice on fresh chops. I think that's it for the questions. And if I didn't get to your question, I'm so sorry. Let's see. Alex says, if you start making song tutorials, could it be Pink Panther? All right, Pink Panther, okay. Interesting. Dak Attack, we're currently playing One Small Step, is based on The First Man on the Moon. It's a really cool song. If you would like, I get a link for it so you can listen to it. Yeah, shoot me a link. Yeah, please help make my job a little bit easier. And put in the link. I would love that. Alex says Pink Panther, the intro. Please answer question from 545. Ryan says, how can I recover damage mental at the gig? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, Ryan? How can I recover mental damage at the gig? Maybe rephrase that question for me so I can help you out. Daniel says, thanks, brother. You're freaking awesome. Thank you, man. Walt says, any good books with finger speed exercises? I have a few exercises in my PDF store, but I mean, there's the Clark. Everyone knows the Clark. That you will never go wrong with that. Actually, practice more of the chromatic scale. Practice more of the chromatic scale. Because we actually practice all these other scales, but the chromatic scale, I've noticed that I actually really haven't practiced it much. So I might actually do a video on this. An exercise that I'm currently working on. So I'm working a lot more, and that was probably too rushed and too fast, right? But I'm working a lot more scale because it just hits all those trouble spots, especially with that third finger. So practice your chromatic scale as much as possible. Oh no, my phone is dying. All right, Ryan K says, how can I get over audition nerves? Excuse me. That's a great question. And you've actually asked the perfect person to give you that question. To give you that answer. Ryan says, how to overcome the spirit the next day when you ruin your performance. We've all been there, man. And if you haven't played enough. You haven't played enough performances. If you haven't messed up so bad on a gig or on a performance, and it's like, oh, that was so bad. But what you have to do is realize it. It's going to be painful. It's going to be so painful. But listen to a recording of it and see how you can learn from it. All right. Listen to the recording. It's going to be painful. It's going to be, but peel off that Band-Aid and listen to it and see how you can get better from it. What can you do better next time so it doesn't happen again? Alex says, okay, well, goodbye, Aaron. I'm going to go play my trumpet because I have a concert and I need to practice. Bye. Hey, thanks for joining, Alex. I appreciate it. Happy practicing. Tyrese, so how can you overcome nervousness when you're on stage? I in college I had terrible, crippling performance anxiety, stage fright, and for some reason I never had it until I got to college. But some things that I've done, some things that I've done that help me with my nervousness is to, one, you have to be over prepared. So you have to know the music like the back of your hand. Like practice that doggone music until you memorize it and you know it back and forward, up and down. And so you don't have to think about it as much. So that's the first thing. Be very prepared and just have no doubt in your mind that you can play this music your best that you can, right? The next thing is to be aware and know what are the symptoms of that you get nervous. Like, what happens when you get nervous? What are some things that happen? What happens to me when I get nervous or when I have that like anxiety feeling is I salivate a lot. So my mouthpiece gets super wet and I can't control that. Another thing is I get super like butterflies in my stomach. My heart races, right? What else? I can't breathe. Like I can't take in enough breath because I'm breathing so fast and my heart is beating and pounding. So it feels like I'm out of breath the entire time when I'm playing the trumpet. So what I did was I actually practiced those symptoms. So for instance, I actually talk about this in another video, but I'll go over it real quick. So say if my lips got really wet, and I hate playing on a really wet embouchure, and that's just me, that's just my preference. I play dry. So what I would do is get some water, and play really wet. Practice that way. Also, if I was really out of breath when I get nervous, I would run in place, do some jumping jacks, run up the stairs, and then start practicing something simple. So like do some scales or something. So I had that feeling, like I had that out of breath feeling. Do some push-ups, do anything to get your heart racing, and then start playing. And because what this stuff did for me was it helped me cope with those symptoms, because I know I'm going to have to deal with it on the performance. So I want to be prepared as much as possible. So it goes back to number one, be as prepared as possible. So how do you become prepared? Practice like it's the gig. So practice like it's the performance, right? So those are my 2 tips for you, man. And lastly, this is very important for me anyway. It helped me. Perform. Play in front of as many people as you get a chance to. You know, we have phones, right? So go live on Instagram, go live on YouTube. It doesn't matter if you have 0 subscribers or whatever. But when the camera is on, when you have eyeballs looking at you, it gets you prepared for that performance. So I say anytime you're preparing an etude or something, throw on a live stream and play for them. even if it's no one watching. That puts that added pressure on you, right? So perform as much as possible. So number one, be super prepared. Two, practice practice your symptoms that you get. Practice the symptoms you get when you're nervous. Three, perform a lot, so you get used to performing. And you know, I'm a professional musician right now. I perform for a living, so I can say wholeheartedly that I've overcome that my stage fright. So now I don't get as nervous, or when I do, I know how to cope with it and stay focused. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps and works out for you. Okay. Herman says, don't fight the nerves, but the symptoms. Exactly. Don't fight the nerves. Just let it happen. But it's how you cope with it is the battle. It's how you deal with it. DAC attack is it actually has like parts where they start talking from when they are landing on the moon. It's pretty cool. Oh, you're talking about the tune that I should take a look at. Yeah, drop me a link. That Ryan K. Could you get back to my question? Ryan, what was your question? Let's see. There's tons of stuff in here. Yeah, I mean, that was it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Nerves is it's the same thing. Nerves, stage fright is to nerves and you know, that anxiety feeling, like practice those symptoms. Like what, Ryan, like when you get nervous, what happens? What happens? Do you shake a lot and you get that terrible vibrato? Like what happens when you get nervous? Alan says, oh, he says, this is live. You're an awesome player, man. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you. So, Ryan, if you're dealing with nerves, so Ryan says, yeah, I start shaking really bad. Ha ha ha. Yeah, yeah. Alan says, just gotta take a shot of alcohol before you play live. That might work for, I mean, that might work for adults, but I mean, hopefully, you know, 12-year-olds are you know, taking a shot before they play. Calvin Murphy says, I've got a jazz concert tomorrow. Any last minute tips? Don't worry about the music. The music is done. You did your work already. So just have fun. Play the music to your best ability. Don't if you do mess up, keep going. Don't relish in it, because what happens is the audience has no idea what you're playing. They have no idea if that was a wrong note or a right note. So just go with it, right? So don't make a face. And that's another thing. If you're a professional, like if I'm a professional, so I play for a living, you know, there's most times where I might mess up like really bad, but you just got to be cool. Like just shrug it off. Like nothing happened, because if it's not a like utter like train wreck, the audience has no idea. The audience has no idea. Right? So those are my tips. Your man Q says, hey, I started teaching myself trumpet this year. Congrats, man. Awesome. And he said, I've used all of your scale videos to learn to play scales. I want to say thank you for that. What else can I do to help teach myself to play? Excuse me. That's a good question. What do you want to do? So that it just, like, what do you want to Do you just want to play for fun? Like, do you want to play at a high level? Do you want to be a professional? Like, it depends on what you want to do. Because if you just want to play for fun, I can give you tips on that. But if you want to play, you know, like amateurly, like as an amateur, you know, play gigs here and there or play as at a professional level, then there's a certain mindset and certain tips for that. All right, Ryan. The people who played together were very good. You guys must be talking amongst yourselves. Not a lizard man. 1328 says, I'm sorry for button, but what I do is that before I play, I breathe in for 4 seconds, then hold it for 7 seconds, then let it out over a course of 8 seconds. It helps. Yeah, that helps too with nerves. Breathing deeply. And that's what Not a Lizard Man is describing. So that helps too. Breathe. Meditate. Visualize success. Visualize yourself playing the best you can and putting on a great performance. Don't visualize yourself messing up, because if you do, you will. The brain does not know a difference between what it can do and what it can't do. Because if you put that vision in your mind, it's gonna resonate. It's gonna come out. So always put positive thinking. If you want positive things to happen, put that in your mind first. Her mind says, I have loose embouchure strength, and I'm very nervous. So what can I do? Long tones. Long tones is a good way to strengthen up your embouchure. Long setting long tone. So like the 6 Notes by Carmine Caruso. That's a good way to strengthen your embouchure. Only do that in moderation though. Don't. All right. But long tones is a good way to strengthen up this. Or someone mentioned the Pete earlier. That's a pretty good device, but it does not substitute practicing. It's just a good supplement tool, right? Alan says, absolutely right. Alcohol is for the adults. It's nice to have young people living and learning. Thanks for creating this space. Yeah, no problem. I mean, thanks for everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. There's 25 folks in here. If I can get 5 more people to like this video, I'll be really happy. Because it helps get this message, get this learning, get this education to a lot more people. So the more folks that like this video and engage, the more people will learn. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, if you're here live or even if you're here on the replay. I appreciate you all for your attention. Thank you so much. I'm super grateful and appreciative. Landon Hill says, I have 5 years. Is there anything, in all caps, I can do to increase my range more? Yes. Like I said before, practice your range. If you're gonna practice increasing your range, do it at the beginning of your routine and not at the end, because by the time you get through all your stuff, you play, and then you want to increase your range at the end of your routine, your lips will be shot. Hopefully they're not, but if they are, you don't want to do that. So I recommend that you practice if you're practicing your range, practice it at the beginning, and always practice it on fresh chops, fresh embouchure. So you don't want your lips to feel tired when you do this, okay? Consistent, be consistent. So if you're trying to reach a note that you can't reach yet, do it anyway. Practice it every single day, right? Alan says, is reading music necessary to be a good player? Let's see. Good. I mean, good is the enemy of great. So I say, if you want to be a good musician, that's fine. But if you want to be a great musician, do everything that you can. Do everything that you can. So no one gives you an excuse not to pick you or to say, I guess, negative things about your playing. So I mean, as a horn player, I recommend that you read music because most of the jobs I get, it is reading involved. About 95% of the jobs that I get, I have to read music. Now, on that 5%, it has to deal with the ear. Now, you really have to develop your ear, and I recommend that even more. Like, really train your ear a lot to where you can be able to play by ear. So if you hear a sound, you'll be able to play it, no problem. But if you want to be a good musician, yes, you have to read music. Yes, if you want to be a great musician, read music and develop your ear. Be able to play by ear. Those two, if you can read anything and play anything by ear, you'll be unstoppable, right? So the goal, I guess my goal, is to be always unstoppable. Always give people a reason or give them not a reason to say something negative about my playing. So read as much as you can, read every day, learn music by ear as much as possible. Laura says, can you do a lesson on vibrato? Yeah, I can do one. It's funny because when I first started playing, and even through college, people kept saying like I had this vibrato, and I never understood what that was. Like, oh, I love your vibrato. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know what they're talking about. But it wasn't until I started recording myself, said like, oh, that's what they're talking about. Like this waviness in my sound. So that's why it's important to, folks, practice your long tones with a straight tone as much as possible without any waves. Because I was doing it without even realizing it. But you actually be able to control your vibrato more if you're able to play all your notes at a steady sound, right? Sam says, have you ever needed to take a massive massive Duke during a gig? Hey, it happens. You gotta hold it, or you gotta, go afterwards or go before. I usually go before, so I don't have that don't have that issue. But yeah, things happen, man. Just gotta let it roll. Tyree says, thank you very much. I'll do that. Excellent. Yuga Senpai says, thanks for the F blues progression. Good tutorial. Thank you. That's gotten 100,000 views. It's crazy. So I'm really glad you all are liking that video and watching it. And I might do more. Ryan K says, thanks so much for the tips. I'll be heading out now. Peace. Hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming here and spending your time. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ryan. Lewis Frazier says, thanks. This is interesting. Hey, I'm glad it's interesting. Alan says, I want to see you teaching at Harvard someday, okay? I'd love to see you play with Winton. I would love to play with Winton too. I'm not good enough yet. But Harvard, nah. I don't want to teach at a university. I really don't. That's nowhere near my goals right now. I like teaching just like this for people that want to learn. that are here to learn, that are here to play, here to learn, here to grow on trumpet. And I like to teach my own way. So I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. So, yeah. Milan says, I just got a solo in my jazz band thanks to your videos. Thank you, bro. Hey, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad. First of all, you guys are doing the work. Doing the work is 90% of it. All I'm doing is putting out the information. So the fact that you're doing the work, that's great. You can, bring the camel to the water or bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. But y'all are drinking. So, and not drinking that shot, by the way, hopefully. You're drinking some water. But yeah, but you guys are doing the work, and I appreciate that. I love hearing that stuff. So thank you for doing the work. You did it. It was all you. Landon says, got first chair today. Awesome. That's what's up. Keep doing the good work. Lou says, blessings, my brother. You have been helping out a lot. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are too kind. Ian says, got to get to some schoolwork. Thank you for all of the tips, man. Oh, no problem. Get to that schoolwork. Get them grades up. All of that. But Ian, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Abel says, how to help think of solos with weird chord progressions. Example include whole tone chords, modes, and etc. Quick tip actually for that. Take some cues from the melody. So that chord progression has a melody. So see what kind of stuff the melody is using to play over those chords, and use those notes, use those rhythms as a way to gain some vocabulary from it. Like start with the melody first, and then expand from there. Of course, learn your scales, learn the whole tone, learn all that stuff. But start with the melody and see how you can embellish it. Start with the melody first. Dakatek says, I gotta go to sleep. I have state testing tomorrow, so I gotta oh man, you gotta get tons of sleep. Drink some water, eat some breakfast before you go. Good luck. Man, I hated taking tests in school. I'm a terrible test taker. I'm so glad I'm done with school. But good luck. Good luck. Do your best. Landon says, thanks for everything, dude. All right, Landon, thank you so much for coming, joining me. There's 18 folks still on here. Yo, that's awesome. But it should be now. I added some space between the website name and .com, so it didn't register as a link, but because it won't show up for anyone if it has the link. Oh, you talking about your link. Cool. All right. Oh, wait. Dak Attack says, have a good rest of the stream, night and day, and will do. Thank you. And I so am, but I got to do it. Thank you for the tips. All right, Dak Attack. Take care. Take it easy. Good luck on your test tomorrow. All right, folks. If there's no more comments, no more questions, no more any of that, Milan says, I'm out, bro. Thanks for everything. I'm going to be out of here, too. It's going on 75 minutes on this live stream. But if you enjoyed this live stream, please hit that like button. It helps a ton on this channel. It helps a ton to get people to see this video. So if you're new, Please go ahead and subscribe so you can catch live streams just like this one whenever I do them. And everyone, take care. Have a good night. Practice your trumpet. Practice it every day. Don't let the trumpet frustrate you. Just enjoy the challenge and keep practicing, all right? So everyone have a good night or a good day. Thank you for watching. Take care.